The battle to defend Dragon Island is still raging intensely. Although the Dragon Clan is strong, the red demons are no pushovers either, and they keep appearing in large numbers. The Golden Dragon, with just a single dragon roar, can easily pierce through the demons in front of it. The Dragon Clan seize the momentum, putting all their strength into rescuing the elderly dragon lying weakly on the ground, their eyes filled with fury. But these red demons aren't just for show. They use destructive beams from their eyes to prevent the other dragons from getting close to the elderly dragon. Even though the dragons have very tough scales, they can't withstand the demon's destructive beams and are knocked backward without being able to defend. Though not particularly powerful individually, the red demon's vast numbers and regenerative ability make it difficult for the Dragon Clan to reach the elderly dragon. These fearless puppets charge into battle until they can no longer move. The Golden Dragon, frustrated, veins bulging on its face, bares its sharp teeth and roars, "Don't block my way!" Seeing the elderly dragon barely clinging to life right in front of him, yet unable to do anything, fills him with a sense of helplessness. The elderly dragon, with its massive body covered in wounds inflicted by the god of war, can only lie there awaiting death, no longer able to resist. Meanwhile, the god of war, after being hit by an arrow from Panis, has started to pay attention to her. Although the arrow felt like nothing more than a scratch, it was enough to irritate him. He turned to look at Panis with cold, piercing eyes. The difference in strength is immense, but she still desperately uses her last bit of strength, holding on to the faint hope of saving the elderly dragon. The god of war saw that Panis, merely at the second stage of extraordinary power, dared to attack him. He couldn't understand why this creature was so eager to seek death, and then he pointed a finger at Panis. His attack was so fast that Panis had no time to react, seeing only a mysterious purple light before her. With just one strike, he sent Panis flying backward. The power was immense. Even though she knew it was suicide, she still tried to attack. After taking the full impact of the god of war's attack, Panis lay motionless, blood pouring from her mouth, her fate uncertain. The jade dragon witnessed everything, but, blocked by the black dragon, could do nothing but scream her name in despair. The black dragon was determined not to let the jade dragon pass. This battle would be one-on-one, whoever was weaker would die. The golden dragon was still struggling to find a way through the dense crowd of red demons, trying to reach and save the elderly dragon. To keep things interesting, the god of war raised his axe high and shouted, "Old man, all of them want to save you, but this time, you're done for." With those words, he swung his axe down towards the helpless elderly dragon, his gaze filled with killing intent, intending to finish his opponent in a single blow. The jade dragon could only stand helplessly, watching with tear-filled eyes, shouting the elder's name in despair. She desperately wanted to save him but was powerless to act. Just as the axe blade was about to strike the old dragon's face, suddenly a mysterious golden light appeared, moving as fast as the speed of light. And it was none other than the divine tree. After absorbing the dragon's egg, his power had become immense. One kick sent the god of war flying, unable to defend himself in time, his entire face distorted. He hadn't even understood what had appeared, but was overwhelmed by the speed and power of the kick. Just like that, he was sent flying at high speed in one direction. Indeed, the protagonist often appears last, and with each appearance their strength increases. The divine tree gently landed on the ground after delivering a powerful blow. At the same time, he managed to save Panis, who was struggling between life and death. Anyone who dared harm her would pay in blood. After such an impressive appearance, his body, having absorbed the dragon's egg, became far stronger. His body was filled with power, and his face clearly showed his anger toward those who invaded the Dragon Island. The black dragon saw this and wondered why a dark elf was here, and how he could possess such overwhelming strength. With one punch, he crushed the red demon's head. The golden dragon wondered why the divine tree, at only transcendent fourth order, dared to face the god of war, who was at transcendent fifth order. However, even so, he had saved the old dragon's life. The golden dragon thought the divine tree was just looking for death, but didn't realize that his current strength had long surpassed transcendent fourth order. The old dragon asked if the divine tree had fully absorbed the dragon's eggs. The divine tree replied that he hadn't finished absorbing them yet. He had only temporarily reached fourth order for now. But he couldn't just stand by and watch the old dragon be killed for giving him the dragon eggs. His human nature would not allow him to do that. The island was also isolated from the outside world now, unable to integrate with it. The red demons continued to appear from the sky, as if they would never be defeated. They had successfully blocked many dragons with their overwhelming numbers. The divine tree frowned. It seems the gods in this world are also corrupted and rotten. Hearing the divine tree's comment, the god of war, amidst the smoke and dust, couldn't stand it and immediately responded. From the smoke, the god of war, after taking such a powerful blow but without a scratch, claimed that what the divine tree said was wrong. His body wasn't even scratched. He said it was simply a mutual exploitation. He was about to lecture for a moment, but seeing the one who just kicked him away at such a terrifying speed left him utterly surprised. As a god of war, being hit like that by a fourth-order dark elf, someone at fourth order who wanted to challenge a fifth-order god of war? The black dragon shouted, "A dark elf? The dragon island is really so weak that it has to rely on such a race?" The god of war continued to babble about the divine tree's fourth order, thinking this battle was unbalanced, and everything had been decided from the start. He then summoned his axe again, determined to kill the old dragon first. The old dragon told the divine tree to stand behind him so he could help block the attack, but he feared that with his current injuries, after this move, he would most likely not survive. He shouted, "Die!" His eyes filled with murderous intent. Not allowing him to gloat for too long, the divine tree immediately moved in front of him and blocked his attack with one hand, just before he could strike. The strength of both sides caused the ground around them to crack, and the power they unleashed was undeniable. But how could a transcendent fourth order stand up to a fifth order? The murderous intent from both sides was overwhelming. But the dragons, who had looked down on the divine tree's fourth order, were now stunned and couldn't believe their eyes. Even the golden dragon, who had initially scorned him, had to scream in shock. How could he block the god of war's strike? Was this really the power of a transcendent fourth order? The god of war widened his eyes in shock. Just a moment ago, he had been constantly mocking the divine tree, yet now, the divine tree had blocked his attack with one hand. This was truly beyond his imagination. Seeing him frozen in surprise, the divine tree took the opportunity to provoke him. "I'm just blocking your attack. Do you really need to be this surprised?" After saying that, the divine tree immediately counterattacked with a powerful golden light. The attack was direct, and the god of war couldn't react in time. Once again, he was sent flying down into the ground. How could he not withstand an attack from a transcendent fourth order? But where did all the mockery from before go? After taking the full brunt of the direct attack, he struggled to get up, with trees knocked down in his wake from the force of his fall. That attack was actually just a punch from the divine tree. How could such a normal punch cause such massive damage? The black dragon, in a panic, yelled. He punched him away. Could the limbs of a normal human really do that? The god of war, whose body he thought to be indestructible, was now injured by a punch from a dark elf, with a deep dent left on his chest. The divine tree, now smirking with satisfaction, showed the face of a victor. Though still a transcendent fourth order, his strength had long surpassed that level.